our facility. And then the thing that we're going to see live and in person later today, our concessions program is 95% complete. That's not a scientific number, that's just my rough estimate. But the only thing that remains unopened is the Wendy's, and that's getting really close. They've installed the equipment, they're doing training. So we will see the Wendy's open later this month, but all of the other concession locations are open and operational. They've been very well received by passengers, and we're really excited to show you them later this morning. Then the concourse project, again, I will not read you every word on this slide, but our concourse A project continues to move forward. We are expecting our next estimates, the 100% estimates on February 13th. So we will have more information about nearly final costs on that, or at least final estimates on that. And we are reviewing the 100% schematic design review. We're continuing to hold workshops. So the project does continue to move forward. We're refining some of the operational things, such as where the loading dock goes and where the fence goes for the operations area and the vehicle service road, and about a million other, every single small detail that you can think of, and probably many that you would not even think of. So work continues on that. This is one of the latest renderings, but it's exciting to see this project moving forward. And this is just a few renderings of the current design. Lots of light, tall ceilings, open space, larger hold rooms, everything that we've been missing in our current facility. We've talked about our terminal roadway project before, but that continues to move forward. We would just want to highlight it for commission because obviously being the main entrance point to the terminal, it does have an impact on our operations, but it is complete. And then we've talked about this fuel farm before. This is the fuel farm that the airline consortium is building. It was probably 3 to 4 years in the works before we broke ground, but we broke ground this last summer. It'll be a 2-year construction project, but this will allow them to have more substantial fuel storage on site. And then our airport master plan, many of you are serving on our technical advisory committee. There was an invitation that just went out this morning for February 25th. So for those of you who are participating in specific committees, I hope you'll be able to join us. Again, I won't read you the slide. You can see that many of the pieces have been completed. Some are in process. Many of them we will be discussing at the technical advisory committee meeting. At this time, I do want to take a moment and introduce Nate Vogel. Nate joined our team. He's sitting in the front row. He's still new and excited about being here. I did try to convince him that he was going to have to sing the national anthem this morning, but he did not buy it. But he is our new Deputy Director of Operations. He comes to us from Washington, D.C. in the Pentagon. He has served in the military. He's just recently retired from the Air Force, and he's actually has experience running military airfields and air bases, so he brings a wealth of experience and knowledge to our team. We're excited to have him and his strategic vision, so you'll all get to meet him on the tour and have an informal conversation with him as we walk around the terminal this morning. But we're excited to have Nate on our team. I think he's been here almost a month. We have some other promotions that I wanted to mention. Denise Armstrong, who does our receivables, has been promoted to capital accounting analyst. And then both Brady and Marty, who you probably recognize, they often are here in the meeting. They do a lot of property management. They also have been promoted as well. So we're excited to see them continue to grow and use their skills and talents here at the airport. In the past, we've actually celebrated some wins and some life-saving efforts of some of our airport employees, broader airport employees using AEDs. And we are in the process of updating all of our AEDs at the airport. And just wanted to highlight that our team is going through training on the use and location of AED so we can continue to respond if passengers ever need it. And then I wanted to share, you probably saw the news, TSA published their list of their best catches of the year. And unfortunately, we had the distinction of being on that list for a fake bomb that was in a checked bag, but it did not make it through our TSA. So it goes to show that, things that you may think would not be detected actually are, and the team is doing a great job. Other happenings around the airport, Delta hosted a blood drive. They were so full at times that they actually had to turn people away. So it was very positive. That is held in memorial for Jim Moore, the Delta station manager who passed away a year or so ago. And, Tom is actually here. I'll call on Tom as well. So Tom is the new chef for areas. He's based out of Boise. He has responsibility for other locations as well within the areas team. You will also have a chance to chat with Tom later today as we're out doing the tour, but we're excited to have him and his expertise here as well. We already talked about this, but I'll mention it again. December numbers were up slightly compared to 2024. And then again, the 5%. Yes, I see the smiles. It's a lot on top of the increase that we had last year, but it's exciting to see. Talking about revenue, there's some substantial changes, mostly things that we would expect. Airline rents up, terminal and food concessions up. That's again because of the new locations and also more passengers. Rideshare, also more passengers, but also an increase in the fee. Landings and freight are down just because of the decrease in cargo activity that we've seen over the last year. On the expense side, parking management is an issue related to timing of payments to the car park, structural plumbing and engineering. I have a note here that is due to the conference room lighting that we've redone, some breakers in the basement that have been changed out, and then the software and cloud services is partially due to timing, but also payment for some software subscriptions and the addition of a new software system that we're using called AeroSimple. And that concludes my report. I should mention that it concludes my formal report. Obviously, I think everybody's noticed we do have new microphones here. I do want to just call attention to it. I think we probably did the quick tutorial ahead of time, but it's push to talk. And then when you're not talking, if you can just turn it off, because apparently it picks up every sniffle is what I've been told. So anyway, hopefully this helps us to hear better and is an improvement for people who are in the room, but also for people who are online. That concludes my report.
Are there any commissioner comments directed towards Director Hupp in her report? Seeing none, we'll move to commissioner comments. Commissioner Carlson, maybe we'll start with you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So it's always great to come back after taking a month off and enjoying the holidays. I first want to welcome Nate and Tom. It's great to have you here, and we're looking forward to seeing the great impact that your leadership brings to our beautiful airport. Also, congrats to those who are promoted. I always like to recognize internal promotions and growth opportunities because I think that really makes for stronger organizations. So congratulations to everybody. I was fortunate enough, because there's no snow in the mountains to ski on, to go last week to Punta Cana, the Dominican Republic, for a few days at a leadership conference where it was 90 degrees and quite warm and lovely. We were in conference room for most of each day, but we could look outside and say, oh, it's so lovely out there. But it was a great leadership conference. It's through the Entrepreneurs Organization, which I've been participating in for 10 years. And it's always great to be around leaders from around North America and share ideas for how to have a greater impact and move the world forward through entrepreneurship. So thank you very much. And one last comment. We have kicked off the phase 2 of the next art project for the airport in conjunction with the city. That process is just getting started. So I'll report more when we wrap that up. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Bossinger?
Thank you, Chairman. It's always hard to follow Meg. I don't have any stories that are near as great of travel as Meg does, but I want to welcome Nate and Tom to the team. We're excited to have you here. I think I was flying the only morning that it snowed, as well as the time that the telecommunication system went down, and so it was difficult. I want to commend the air traffic control ground and tower people for doing the best they could with the situation that nobody wanted to be in. So let's hope that gets up and running quickly, but good job to them.
Brigadier General Smith?
Good morning, everybody. I don't have too much to say this morning, other than I had a really successful trip to DC last week. The Boise airport's always my favorite part of the trip. That always goes smooth. It's good to see all of the vendors getting in. Just walking through, you can see the change. I fly probably every other week or at least once a month, and it's noticeable. To include the restroom renovations, I think that's a really nice touch. And then unbiasedly, I think you did a really great job of hiring Nate Vogel. We'll get to know each other better, but it sounds like your background's really solid and you chose the right service, and it's great to see. Just objectively speaking, but that's all I have. Thank you.
Commissioner Hughes?
Good morning. I definitely want to reiterate what Meg said. Congratulations to Nate and Tom and to all the promotions. I also wanted to recognize Amy. Where is Amy? Amazing Amy. Did she slip out? Oh, amazing Amy's back there. So when I first came on the commission, I had to remember everyone's names. So I named Amy, Amazing Amy. And it's very fitting, and we're going to miss you, but a huge congrats on your retirement. I'm sure you'll have a lot of travel and camping and fun with your husband. So congratulations.
Thank you. Commissioner Vasconcelos?
I don't really have much to say other than that I would like to point out that Sun Valley has some really good skiing. They've had over 6 feet of natural snow, and they've got about a 4-foot base up on top. No snow in town, but it's surprisingly good skiing, and they're grooming and snowmaking. It's hard to beat.
Thank you. Ski reporter. Commissioner Weston?
Thank you, and Rebecca, thank you for the PA system. First, I can actually hear what's going on now. Appreciate that. I've just been spending my time kind of watching our government in action. It's that time of the year when you say somewhat facetiously, no man's life, liberty, or property are safe because the legislature is in session. And having watched it for a while, I'm pleased to report that no one I'm aware of down there shows up on the Epstein list. With that, I guess I'll just close and say it's a pleasure to be here, and I'll enjoy watching her the tour this afternoon or this morning.
Thank you. Commissioner Morales, online, do you have any comments?
Yeah, just a couple comments. I enjoyed some family travel at the end of last month, and our new family tradition of grabbing a waffle and watching the planes come in and out was so fun. We did buy the last 2 waffles available on that later morning flight. And yeah, just appreciate all the team does at our airport. Just an amazing place to fly out of and come into. I failed to report the one observance I had was that the Corey Barton display, the guy getting ice cream has disappeared. The ice cream must have been so good he jumped out of his shoes, because the shoes are all that's left. So laughed about that. Next time you're down on the concourse, you have to check that out. And then I'll just report back on Council Pro Tem Corliss and I's efforts a little bit in relation to some of the safety concerns on the bench. Our staff will be reaching out to the airport team. We've had a little bit of difficulties through some of the channels to kind of connect with FAA, so we'll appreciate being able to strategize with the team a little bit more to talk about clearances, low clearances over the bench for kind of backcountry air and fire tankers, that kind of thing. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner. Okay, we'll move to the next item on the agenda, which is an opportunity for the general public to offer questions and comments. And just a quick reminder that discussion per issue is not to exceed 5 minutes and meeting time constraints. And requests for final action may require deferral to a future meeting. So is there anyone present that would like to make a question or offer a question or comment? Good morning, please step forward.
Should I press this?
Yes.
If you could give your name.
Yes,
and your
yes.
address. Thank you.
I'm just going to read from my statement. So, my name is Laura Taylor, and I'm a resident in the Surprise Valley neighborhood, which is in southeast Boise. I've lived in my house for 30 years. I'd like to address the recent change of the ground track that now has Alaska Airlines coming from Seattle, Portland, and Spokane, flying over our homes as they make their descent for landing at Boise Airport. My noise complaint was filed with the FAA in November, and I received a response on December 15, 2025. The response was enlightening and at the same time somewhat alarming, as it clarified both the increasing use and long-term implications of this procedure over our community. I'm speaking to you today to respectfully request that the ground track for Boise Airport, RNAV, RNP, X-ray runway 28 left and right arrival be moved further east for the Lucky Peak Reservoir Dam. As currently designed, the ground track overflies a sensitive wildlife preserve called the Barber Pool Conservation Area, an open-air Shakespeare theater, a junior high school, and an international charter school, in addition to our Surprise Valley neighborhood, which is 400 homes and 70 condos, and the Columbia Village neighborhood, which is 1,800 homes. These are locations where quiet outdoor environments are especially important and where repeated low-altitude overflights have a disproportionate impact. The Barber Pool Conservation Area encompasses 700 acres and it's home to 200 species of birds and 60 species of mammals, including we have wintering bald eagles. There's currently a pair of nesting bald eagles right in the path of the descending Alaska flights. The Barber Pools has been nominated as one of the top 12 ecosystems in Idaho. Shifting the ground track further east would also have the added operational advantage of placing arriving aircraft at a higher altitude as they pass over these sensitive areas, assuming a typical descent profile of approximately 300 feet per mile. This would help reduce both noise and perceived intrusion without compromising the integrity or intent of the procedure. As noted in the FAA response, this approach is a special aircraft and aircrew authorization required procedure. As more pilots and aircraft become certified to use it, the impacts will inevitably be compounded as additional flights are scheduled into and out of Boise Airport. What may appear bearable today has the potential to become a significant and persistent burden on the affected communities. I'm also concerned that our subdivision was not given an opportunity to provide input to the FAA during the development or implementation of this arrival procedure. The Surprise Valley subdivision has been established for approximately 30 years, and many residents felt blindsided by a routing change that concentrates aircraft traffic directly over our homes. To be clear, we're not asking for extreme noise abatement procedures such as those implemented at airports like the John Wayne Airport. Rather, we're requesting a reasonable adjustment that balances operational efficiency with environmental safety and community considerations. Additionally, I wish to express concern regarding the geometry of the RNAV, RNP, X-ray, runway 28 left and right approach itself. The procedure places aircraft in a nearly continuous turn for almost 180 degrees.
This constant turning raises safety concerns as it reduces the opportunity for pilots to visually acquire conflicting aircraft approaching from the left on straight-in approaches to runway 28 left and 28 right. This type of visual acquisition limitation was a contributing factor in the American Airlines collision with the military helicopter at Washington, D.C. area airport operations, underscoring the seriousness of this issue. Given the longstanding presence of our community, I respectfully ask whether it's fair or equitable to route an increasing number of aircraft directly over our homes when viable alternatives may exist. I believe a modest eastward adjustment of the ground track could meaningfully reduce impacts while preserving the safety and efficiency goals of this procedure. I appreciate your time and consideration and continued engagement. Thank you. And I did, I'll give this to you, had a map made showing how currently it's going over like the junior high, the Barber pools and the international school and then our neighborhoods. And then by shifting just 1 mile, which would increase 2 minutes to flight time, would then, it doesn't go over any single home, would be impacted. So anyway, thank you again for like this.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor. Director Hupp, would you like to offer any comment in response?
Yes, thank you. And thank you for being here today and presenting. I think that we did receive a copy of your letter and complaint to the FAA and also FAA's response. And as I think the commission is aware, the airport itself is not involved in directing flight paths, nor do we want to be, but we can follow up with the FAA to see, what the next steps, if any, may be. So we can take that as an action item.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you again for
Thank you.
being here today. Okay, we'll move to the next item on the agenda.
Sure.
Yes,
I would like to make a comment on her presentation.
sure. Please, Commissioner.
In fact, recognizing what you said, but I personally would support what she just proposed, because for years, we have had tickets to the Idaho Shakespeare Festival, and their productions are constantly interrupted by these Alaska flights going directly over the theater pretty much. And they've made light of it and, paused their dialogue to accommodate the noise. But if there's a way to route those planes just a little bit further over where this doesn't happen, doesn't impact neighborhoods, I personally would be a strong advocate of that. And in fact, Mark Hoffland and I met with someone from the tower, the FAA, to discuss this, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. And it was like, okay, we'll see what we can do. I'm not sure anybody from Alaska attended our little meeting, but anyway, I think it's a great idea. And I don't know if a motion is appropriate or not, but anyway, those are my personal views.
Thank you for your comments. If I could add to that, I too attend Shakespeare on occasion, and I look at those a little differently. When the planes travel overhead, they're a tremendous opportunity for improvisation for the actor. I've seen some terrific, pretty good job. They do. I don't mean to make light of it. I too was a Surprise Valley resident for many years, and in many ways I regret moving out of that neighborhood. So, well, thank you again for your comments, Commissioner. Any other comments? What was said? No? Hearing none? Okay, we'll move. Is there anyone else who would like to step forward and speak, or anyone online? Seeing and hearing none, we'll move to the next item on the agenda, which is we'd like to move into executive session.
Chairman Cunningham, I move that we go into executive session to discuss records relating to the appraisal of real property prior to its acquisition, sale, or lease by a public agency pursuant to Idaho Code 74-1073.
We have a motion on the table. Is there a second?
Second.
Could we get roll call, please?
Commissioner Boisier.
Yes, here, do I?
This is to move into executive session.
Sorry.
Aye.
Aye, okay.
Nay.
Sorry. Commissioner Carlson,
Aye.
Commissioner Cunningham,
Aye.
Commissioner Kretzer Redlaw. Commissioner Hughes.
Aye.
Commissioner General Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Vasconcelos,
Aye.
Commissioner Westerberg,
Aye.
Councilman Morales.
Aye.
Okay, it's been approved that we will move to executive session, so I would ask members of the general public, first I'd like to thank you for being here. And ask everyone to please exit the room, except for the commission and Director Hub. Thank you.
Well, first off, what is your plan? Are you going straight to the store right now?
Councilmember Morales, we are not going to be able to have you hear the executive session because we're ending the Zoom portion of the meeting.
Sounds good.
It's the same stuff that we talked about yesterday.
Perfect. I figured. Thank you. Thank you all. Have a good one.
All right, thank you.
No, not yours.